about the tax budget is that the school and the county auditor work together to make sure that we've adjusted the mills so that they collect what is supposed to be collected from the taxpayer. And so we both look at the values, we both look at the mills and make sure that they agree that we're, because those mills were passed to legally collect so much money, and just us working together to make sure that happens. So property taxes are reevaluated and reappraised every 3 to 6 years, and the Boulder County Auditor did that this past year, and one of the what we found out was that the values will increase about 15%. And I don't know if it's the overall, I only have a number, I don't know if it's the overall, like there's growth in there, or is it all the individual homes and there's little growth? I don't know exactly how that value has come about because I don't really have the detail of it right now. But in any case, it's that value that we use to determine estimate how many the amount of tax receipts we will receive for the coming year, both in the general fund, in the permanent improvement fund, and in the bond fund. And I document that on the tax budget. I talk about this is what the estimated property tax receipts we will receive, and this is how we will spend those receipts. One thing that's not included are the tax receipts that we receive through the city, so that value of property does not include any of the value that is in those TIF red properties that's outside of that. So I did not estimate increases in those, but I do think there will be increases. So I do want to point out, if you go to the PowerPoint, the blue up there. Okay, so this shows how our mills have been adjusted, and you can see since 2013 they have gone up at different times, and now they are at their lowest point. And I think they'll probably continue to go down as the values increase. But there is 20 mills that if your home increases in value, the 20 mil it'll be multiplied times 2 over 1,000, and your taxes will go up. If your home value goes up, then your taxes will go up for that 20 mills. There's other mills that you may save some money, but if your overall value of your house goes up, this will mean you will pay more taxes. So that makes a difference to the taxpayer, and we want to be aware of that because there may be a need in the future for additional tax levy, and we don't want to keep piling up. We want taxes to go down, and then you pass another levy that brings them back up. But we'll just continue to watch that. So that's a benefit. Go to the next. Alex, can you go to the next screen? Okay, and this just shows how the values have really gone up. From 370 million to 428 million up there. So, and again, like I say, I know it's a combination of the individual homes are going up in value, and people will see it on the tax bill, and also there has been some growth, but I don't know what the specifics of all that are right now. So can you give me the next thing? Oh, so the tax budget includes estimated revenue for the general fund, for the bond fund, which is 10%, and for the permanent improvement fund. So I was happy to see that I think there's 2.03 mils that go in that permanent improvement fund, and that stays the same, and so tax receipts will go up in that, which will allow us to use some of that money to help with permanent improvements. You can use it for permanent improvements, textbooks, and technology. So we do pay the debt for the stadium the field house and the board office out of that. But one of those will be going away in 24, I think it's the field house. So then we'll have 2 debts to continue, but they're really not, they should allow us to net 500,000 every year, each year. So, we can use that. But the general fund is, we rely a great deal on the property taxes. Okay, can you go to the next? Okay, so I just played this out. So these were our values in 15, and then here it is in 21. Went from 371 to 428. Okay, so if you take the 20 mils and you multiply it, this 20 mils is where we're going to get growth. So you see that we would get 54,000 more in between 307 and 309. So we should get 54. And then we should get 30,000. It doesn't, we don't get a lot more, it's just a little bit. But then when you come down to these jumps, and this was mostly because of personal property, which is the pipeline, that jump, and then that jump, that had Duke and Rocky in there as well. We should get 500,000 more. You think about that. It looks like that would be the best estimate. And now I'm looking at 1 million more. If you take 20 million and look at the difference in these, it's 1 million more. But there's so many things that can change that. And Alex, can you go to out of that PowerPoint and go to another, wherever, let's see. Okay, this screen. Okay, so I just thought it would be helpful to look at what happens, what our history of property taxes are, and this is this is a number in the general fund back in the day, in 2013, 2014, 2015. Okay, so back in 14, a lot of the properties, one of the things that happens is sometimes the properties are reclassified from regular property taxes to the TIF RID, and then we would end up getting our payment from the city for those. So the city reclassified a number of them in 14, and that meant they moved from here down to here. And so that's a change. And something happened, like right here in 20, Warren County, they did not give us the tax. I looked at the tax receipts and it didn't match my estimates, and I said, what happened? There's like 200,000 or 300,000 I don't see. And she said, well, because we were paying you for TIF RID property that we shouldn't have been paying you for, and it was reclassified, so we have to take that money back, and you should be getting it down here. So there's this reclassification that is a surprise at different times. I mean, but I'm on top of it, and I try to figure out, when we were in quarantine, lots of emails, but when you can't really see the numbers because you're working in remote locations, but anyway, that makes a difference. You put these numbers on the forecast and then they don't come about because property's been changed. And then delinquencies also impact your taxes, but then you get payments for delinquencies from the past, so that could be a plus. So these adjustments are in your tax receipts. Then back in the spring, also our personal property taxes were like $700,000 less from Warren County, and I said, what's going on here? And then there was a company that did not made their payment. They missed the deadline, and then she did send it to me before the end of the year, but it didn't come with that. So these are things that make it difficult to always project. Then another thing is here, like I was saying on that other sheet, it should have gone up 500,000. Well, that's in our fiscal years, but sometimes we get 250,000 one year, and in the fall of the following year, which is another fiscal year, it's 250,000 again. So the measurement factor is a little bit different. But when you add all these together, it's like 800,000. So 809, so 809. So it has gone up when those values did go up. So just want you to be aware that in projecting, you just need to be aware of that. You need to be conservative because we have been surprised in the wrong way. But it's nice when we see what we expect to be realized. And I did put half of the increase on the forecast, but I'm going to make an adjustment. Once we see what's really coming around, then I can make an adjustment on the forecast, and hopefully it'll make a good difference for us. So are there any questions? We've heard the tax base before, so it's not easy. I'm looking forward to working closer with the city and looking at their spreadsheets while they're doing their calculation, or when they're doing that for the TIF grid, and maybe I can get a better sense for if there is a change between one category and another and what it does. So I am planning to get more involved in, Casey was doing it, and now somebody else took it over the last 2 years maybe, and now that they're pretty much doing it, I want to meet with them and see what they're including in those, and see, how those properties are increasing values and what's going to happen with those. So I'll feel more secure. I always feel secure with the city as a rule, but that one we were kind of going around circles for a while. So it would have helped just get in the car and go over and start going with those, but we couldn't do that on a Saturday night in the spring when we're in quarantine,
Holly, do you know if Baldwin County is the only county challenging the tax increase that the state's going to do?
I don't know if they're the only one. I'm not aware of any other one though. I haven't heard from anyone else. But I was assured that this 427 is going to be our number. But we'll see.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Anybody heard this?
At this time, I'd like to call to order the 2021 organizational meeting for Monroe Upper School. Mrs. Kay, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Leeds?
Here.
Mr. Carpenter?
Present.
Mr. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Guido?
Here.
And Mrs. Stone? Present.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
If not, I'll accept a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion by Mr. Carpenter and a second by Mrs. Stone that the agenda be accepted as posted. Mrs. Kay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
And Mr. Guido?
Aye.
It's this time we entertain a nomination of anybody to the office of president.
Mr. Pro Tem, I'd like to nominate Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Okay, I will entertain a motion to close the nominations.
So moved. Oh, yes, second.
I second that.
Yeah,
Okay, he seconded. Okay.
And then I'll motion to close the nomination.
and I'll second close the nomination.
Okay, the motion to close the nomination has been cast. Ms. Kay, I'll call the roll.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we will vote on Mr. Grant being president, since he is the only candidate. Ms. Kay, I'll call the roll.
Well, we need to take a break.
Go ahead, call the roll.
Call the roll. Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Grant has been nominated and elected president. Mrs. Kay Hall, would you administer the oath of office?
All in one.
No.
Hold your breath and do it all at one time. By memory.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear and say after me. I, Dave Grant,
I, Dave Grant,
solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully
and will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
my duties as president
my duties as president
of the Monroe Local School Board of Education
of the Monroe Local School Board of Education
in Monroe, Ohio,
in Monroe, Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance with the laws
and in accordance with the laws
now in effect and hereafter
now in effect and thereafter
to be enacted
to be enacted
during my continuance
during my continuance
in said office
in said office
until my successor is chosen and qualified.
until my successor is chosen and qualified.
Mr. Grant, at this time, you may assume charge of the meeting.
Thank you. Item number 8, I need a nomination for the office of the vice president, closed and then vote taken. So may I have a motion for a nomination for the office of vice president?
I nominate Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Are there any other nominations? All right. So, Mrs. Kay Hall, we will close the nominations. And so, Mrs. Kay Hall, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
Mr. Grant,
Aye.
and Mr. Carpenter.
Aye.
Aye, this time, may I have a motion to approve the vice president?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone, and thank you, Mr. Leeds. And Mrs. Kale, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. And at this time, Mrs. Kale, will you please perform the oath?
Had to mess it up. I'm so good at that. All right, I appreciate it.
Okay. I, Tim Carpenter,
I, Tim Carpenter,
solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge my duties
and impartially discharge my duties
as Vice President
as Vice President
of the Monroe Local School District
of the Monroe Local School District
Board of Education
Board of Education
in Monroe, Ohio,
in Monroe, Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance
and in accordance
with the laws now in effect
with the laws now and in effect
and hereafter to be enacted
and hereafter to be enacted
during my continuance
during my continuance
said
in
office
said office
until my successor
until my successor
is chosen and qualified.
is chosen and qualified.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a little shaky.
Congratulations. All right, item number 9. It is recommended that the board establish a service fund beginning January 1st, 2021 in the amount of $20,000 for the calendar year 2021 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3315.15. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone. Thank you, Mr. Guido. Any questions? Ms. Gale, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 10, it is recommended the board appoint a legislative liaison, Monroe Area Community Improvement Corporation representative, and a Butler Tech Board of Education liaison for 2021. We as a board have spoken prior to the meeting and established the committees. So it is recommended the board appoint one member to serve as the Monroe Local School District's legislative liaison to the Ohio School Boards Association for calendar year 2021, and that is going to be Mr. Leeds and Mr. Carpenter. It is recommended that the board appoint one member to serve as the Monroe Local School District representative with the Monroe Area Community Improvement Corporation, and that is Mr. Leeds. And then it is recommended the board appoint one member to serve as the Monroe Local School District's representative to the Butler Tech Board of Education, and that is Mr. Guido. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Carpenter. Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 11 is appointment of the board subcommittees for 2021. The Facilities Subcommittee, again, the board has discussed these in advance. It's the Facilities Subcommittee, Mr. Leeds and Mr. Carpenter, and I will be a substitute. And the Board Finance Subcommittee is Mrs. Stone and Mr. Leeds. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 12, it is recommended that the board approve the following legal counsels for the Monroe Board of Education for the calendar year 2021. For such matters as may from time to time be referred by the board, superintendent, or treasurer. The legal counsels are A, Enos Britton, LPA, B, Dinsmore, previously Peck, Schaefer, and Williams, that's for the bond counsel, and then C, Rich and Gillis Law Group. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 13, it is recommended that the Records Commission of the Monroe Local School District be comprised of the President of the Board of Education, the Superintendent, and the Treasurer CFO of the district. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Thank you, Mrs. Stone. Any questions? Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 14, it is recommended that in accordance with section 3313.26 of the Ohio Revised Code, the board waive the reading of the minutes from previous meetings. May I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 15 is recognition of the following as the newspapers of record for 2021. A, the Journal News, and B, the Cincinnati Enquirer. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Guido.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions?
Just to make sure the Journal gives us some press time this year.
That'd be nice. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 16, it is recommended that the board authorize dues for memberships into the Ohio School Boards Association for 2021, as well as membership in OSBA's Legal Assistance Fund for 2021. The OSBA's Legal Assistance Fund costs $250. OSBA membership for 2021 is $56.25. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Item 17, it is recommended that the board approve the board meeting dates for calendar year 2021. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. And Kathy, it is all yours.
Great, thank you. At this time, I am recommending the board to enable the superintendent to carry out necessary district duties involving operations, finances, and purchasing. It is recommended that the board adopt the following standard authorizations for the calendar year 2021.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried.
Item 19.1, resolution reviewing the current parent and family involvement policy 2111 as required by the Ohio Department of Education.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried.
I'm asking the board to approve the tax budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone, and thank you, Mr. Guido. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried.
Next, I'm asking the board to approve the treasurer's standing authorizations for 2021.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds, and thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. At this time, we'd like to adjourn the organizational meeting. And we will start the regular board meeting in 1 minute. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. And thank you, Mrs. Stone.
So, before we adjourn, call the roll, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I mean, we've never really discussed about Zoom or YouTube Live. Are you gonna set a standard for that, or is that until funded necessary or not? I'm not asking to do that now, but if we decide to do that, we should actually pass a resolution or how we're gonna hold it and that, so. Keep that on our radar. We should have, just like we have our newspapers as the papers of record, we should.
Okay.
Decide whether we
Continue.
continue to broadcast it or if this is just a COVID temporary.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone? Aye. Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year. I'd like to call to order the January 11th, 2021 regular meeting. Mrs. K. Hall, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Carpenter?
Present.
Mr. Guido?
Here.
Mr. Leeds?
Here.
And Mrs. Stone?
Here.
All right, item 1.2, we're on join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.3, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
All right, thank you. And item 1.4, approve the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Mrs. K. Hall, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried. Section 2, discussion and comments from the board. Item 2.1, legislative.
Couple things, the weekly legislative update, the Ohio Federation of Teachers are not happy with the quarantine procedure issued by Governor DeWine. And they, what are we going to do about it? They voiced their opposition to it. So more to come on that. Secondly, Mr. Huffman, who is president of the Senate, has looked at this, the monies that we are getting in the capped districts, and he's kicked the can far down the road. He is saying that they are saying that he will, he says it'll be a year, but it's more like 4 years before we'll make a decision on it. Now, when Mr. Hall was here to have a meeting with us, and his assistant, Mr. Morgan, they put out the invite for us to get a hold of them. We would like to go to Columbus to meet with people. And Mr. Hoffman's on my list. So I would like to call Mr. Morgan and try to set up something with Mr. Huffman, his name is, and have our team go up there and sit down with him and let him know what we're about. So I intend to do that this coming week, and hope to call him tomorrow and see what I can get. But we need to go up and explain to him, like we explained to Mr. Hall, where we are on the cap fund and what it's doing to us. And the only other thing I have is, did you guys get the information from about the charter schools and the PPP? It's, man, they hit us hard. There are some charter schools that got over $7 million in that. And if you take that, divided, if you take a charter school with less than 1,000 people, 1,000 kids, and they're getting that kind of money, it's unbelievable. And the monies left Ohio and were given to the people in other states. So there are a lot of people in Columbus saying that some of the legislators in this charter school and ed choice are on the table. It's all like it is. So more to come on that too.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Leeds.
that 28 million over 4 years, I mean, it's practically our new elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
So it's unfortunate that it's, people don't understand that are making these budget decisions. So it really does need to be a huge priority of ours to get this figured out.
I agree. And you said you're going to try to get that set up?
Yes.
Contact them this week?
Yes.
Okay. Keep us posted.
Will do.
Item 2.2, public tech, Mr. Guido.
I just want to share that Classes started back today again for our students. Everything went really well. No issues to speak of. I think everybody was happy with that. So, and then downloaded some pictures. I don't know if you can pull them up. Just for an update for the actually going to be where that paddock that you saw was. So the veterinary science building is going to be that science building, moving into science and all that. So and there's going to be a little bit of rehab work done on that barn to accommodate very big high space, because also the build like gazebos or pergolas, for example, a space where they actually have build stuff in the building, because when it's March and January, February, it's cold, they can't be outside. So working on ideas of allowing that to happen as well. So again, budget is going to determine some of what actually goes into that space, but I think that with the parking lot as a guideline, you can see that it really does fit into the current space that the trailers are in now. So.
Where's that gonna be sold?
Well, so again, there's a solar concept there. We don't have the pricing of that, but I think that there was actually a green space or a greenhouse that was, if you can see it on the roof of the building on the right. They've got a lot of ideas. If you can see the 3 stacks, those are actually wind turbines. And not only for heating and electricity, all the components that you did, it really is, they're looking at ways to incorporate that as a teaching tool. Study. So if we can get enough corporate investment or partnerships in that, some of those concepts will be there. That's also possible.
very expensive technology, some of that. So, I mean, some of that may be the first to go because we would rather have space than that. And I hope all of that concept stays because I think the solar concept and the other GOP and stuff that they're doing and we're talking about would be good for everybody to learn. I mean, it could be something where students here at Monroe could go over and talk about real life scenarios that you put on and stuff like that. So a lot going on there, but it's at least the concept will be something like that.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else?
No, our organizational meeting is tomorrow, so all that will be up and rolling tomorrow.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Item 2.3, finance.
Nothing this evening.
All right, thank you. 2.4, MEA. Anyone? All right. And item 3.
School Board Recognition Month.
Yes.
So January is School Board Recognition Month, and I just wanted to take this moment on behalf of our staff, our students, and our families to thank each and every one of you for your leadership, your hard work, and your personal sacrifices. I know you all give up a lot of personal time to devote to this work, and it's been especially difficult since March of 2020, and you all have had a lot of tough decisions to make, but we really appreciate that through all of those very difficult decisions, your focus on what was best for our students and our staff never wavered. And, you know, one of the things, as you know, we've been receiving communications about board recognition during the month of January. They've been talking about how boards of education are about building the future of public education. And when I think about that, you all are the model, I think, for many, because when you look at building the future of public education, we, since March, have put in a virtual learning, we've implemented a virtual learning academy, which is making us think completely different about how we deliver education in the future. And you were very supportive of moving forward with that. The last board meeting, we talked about moving forward with one-to-one and having our students be able to take devices between home and school. And again, that was a decision that came out of COVID. We have asked for many digital tools to be approved, and you have been right there and very supportive of approving those tools that our teachers felt were necessary in order for us to offer a seamless remote instruction experience. So you all are very much taking us in a new direction when we talk about the future of public education. And we just want to say thank you for all of your support. We appreciate you. You are the best board of education in the state of Ohio. And I know Holly and I both really appreciate everything that you do for us and for this district each and every day. And to share our appreciation, we have certificates, and I'll just come by individually and hand them to you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, there are no handshakes or hugs or anything. We'll do it all virtually. So thank you all very much for your service on the board. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on to section 4, communication. Comment from the public. Seeing none, we will continue on to section 5, presentations.
So Tom is coming up to the podium to share a little bit about what the high school is actually launching in live today, I believe. So as we, and I thought the timing was perfect because tonight on the organizational agenda, we talk about reviewing our plan for involving parents and parent communication. And this is a step that our high school has taken And I really have a lot of appreciation for the work that they have done to try to increase that communication with our parents and looking at and being innovative in how they can do that, especially during COVID. But once hopefully COVID subsides or lessens, this will still be a great tool to be able to communicate with our parents and help connect them with what's going on with our courses at the high school. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but wanted to just share a little bit of, I think this would be a good time just to show you a little bit of what they've put together. So.
Thank you. I'm going to put this down in front of one, Happy New Year and congratulations. I mean, it means a lot that we all work so well as a team. Just to give you a little background on this project that we put together, John Creamer, I'm going to give him a lot more credit than I'm just here presenting. I mean, he was the one that said, man, wouldn't it be great if we had a way to present what our courses were like more in a video format so that kids could go home and talk to their parents, not just by looking at the course of study, the program, and just read a paragraph on each course, but see the teachers that are teaching those classes. I was like, that's a great idea. We also had the fear that when we came up with this idea back in sometime in October that there might be a chance that we might not be in school at this time of year. And my greatest fear was how were we going to really showcase our courses to our students and to the parents if we were not in school. And we have a teacher talk day set up, and each teacher in each department talks about the strengths within their department and giving you an idea of, okay, I'm a freshman or I'm a sophomore, and here's the next level of classes I get. And of course, as the older you get, the more variety and the more they branch out to different courses. So with the help of Andrea Carpolano, who's done a fabulous job, and you know that she's in that new role, she put this site together. Pretty much she put that together, then with the combination of the counseling office and the entire staff, everyone had their part in making this truly pretty much a living site. You know, when you get on it and you see what's going on. So it's broken down. They're all tabs. You can hover over them and go into each department. I was going to ask you to go, let's have fun on, if you go to Unified Arts. I thought I'd take you to one or more. You might have seen this already a little bit, but if you dig in deep, he's going to go to Unified Arts. We do have sound, right? Okay, so this will work out pretty good. And then scroll down. We got to show you one of the first ones that was done was right there, mixed choir by Mr. Longyear. This is pretty good. That is him singing. That's great. And I just found out tonight who the Grinch was. And then, so when you watch something like that, and you're watching it at home with the kids and with their mom and dad, you might be like, hey, that might be a course to join. Yep. You know, and there's tons of that when you go to each one of the departments. And you know, you go see Mr. Wellman talking about chemistry, and next thing you know, he's messing around, and all of a sudden there's things changing and poofing, and it's just incredible work, and it gets you engaged with like, wow, I think I want to take that. And you know, we got some teachers that are a little bit more traditional, but I think, you know, this is something that we have a solid base on now, And as we move forward, we don't have to like reinvent the wheel when we can move forward in the years and maybe make some tweaks. But this just went out the other day to all the parents. The kids have it today, so hopefully they're going home. The kids probably had a repetition today where every teacher was saying, you gotta check your email, gotta check your email. So hopefully they're going home and they're gonna start looking at this, looking at the traditional program of study, but this is a great visual for them to have. And I don't think we will definitely not move away from this. And part of this came from an idea of doing our virtual open house, which all of us did, and I think it kind of sprang from that in October, and this is where we're at. So I know we all want to get back to normal, but normal will never be normal. There's a lot of things that we've all evaluated to say these are things that we'll continue to do after we take away the mask and get everybody back socializing elbow to elbow. So, but this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Very cool.
Great work to you,
Yeah.
high school. Thank you.
Well,
very
really,
much.
I mean, the great work goes to the staff and everyone in Carbolano who put this together. They did an outstanding job with it. So hopefully it's going to pay off dividends as we get into our registration season here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the more you can build excitement for a class, the kids are going to
Absolutely.
take those classes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the second thing, congratulations to your team.
Oh, yeah. I want to get that on record. Go Brownies.
I was gonna say.
I will take
And
it
go
on
Bucks.
chin.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Was there a game last night?
Yes, no, there was no game. No, one team didn't show up.
Welcome to my world.
So congratulations. It's been a long time for you guys.
I was in church last night.
All right, section 6, treasurer's business. Mrs. Cahall, it's all yours.
I'm asking the board to approve the minutes from December 14th, 2020.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. Second. Thank you, Mr. Guido. Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye, motion carried.
Next, I'm asking the board to approve the financial report for December 31st, 2020.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
I'd like to report that the general fund balance at the end of December 31st, 2020 was $27,475,752. And the ending month balance was from all funds was $33,717,368 for all funds. And the year is 50% complete, and salaries were at 47%, and fringes were at 45%, and all the other categories were well under the 50%. And the quick reference report shows 6 months of actual receipts and expenses and 6 months of estimated. And I did include a $169,000 refund from the Bureau of Workers' Comp, which was way not expected. And refund from the county auditor. In the general fund, we deposited $76,000 there. So we're projecting $268,958 more in overall receipts than we originally thought. And expenses are all pretty much close to projections. Expenses, when I play them out for the next 6 months, they appear to be, it may be $173,000 less than what the budget is. So we're very close. And but we're expecting to end the year with expenses exceeding receipts by $663,000, which is better than what we started out with. These additional payments from all these sources are really helping our general fund. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
So it's getting better, just to keep that on the radar, that we're still
Yes. Yeah, it's getting better.
good end in the red at the end of the school year.
Right.
It's better, each month you're reporting, the balance is getting a little bit better and you're being very conservative. But I think it's, transparency is great. We always need to be upfront about where we're at, so.
Yep.
I always watch salaries and benefits, how far off are we in estimates, and they're pretty close at the moment.
Okay.
We got 6 months to go.
Thank you.
I think it sounds like a broken record all the time that we keep talking about the money that we're losing from being capped. But, I mean, we need to keep pounding that drum because that's a lot of money every year that we that we're paying for as homeowners and so
Absolutely.
that money's here and is given to other districts. So, sorry.
No, on board with it.
You know, when I was putting together the tax budget, we're talking about collecting 16 million in taxes, and really, if the state is supposed to pay us 16 million, and we're supposed to collect 8 million, given our wealth. So it's just the opposite. I mean, that was on a report from the high school funding, fair funding group. So,
I think it's funny the name is fair
Fair
funding.
funding.
Unfair. Any other questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried.
I'm asking the board to approve the bond fund report for December 31st, 2020.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Reporting that we received revenue of $9,000 in reimbursement from prior year auditor fees from the Butler County Auditor, and the current balance in the bond fund is $2,747,789.
Thank you. Mr. Guido, any questions?
Everything works supposed to be.
Yes, it is.
Any other questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried.
And the next two, I know you know about these donations, but since we received the money, I did want to recognize it at the time, and also approval of an account that we have to set up for these monies. I'm asking the board to approve a donation of $16,881 from the City of Monroe Fire Department from their coronavirus relief grant, and also approve Fund 510 to account for this grant.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone. Thank you, Mr. Guido.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Any questions? Ms. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried.
Next, I'm asking the board to approve a donation of $46,516 from the Lemon Township, who donated their federal coronavirus relief fund grants to our school, and also approve Fund 510 to record that grant. And as I listed here, that we'll include that in the minutes, we purchased hover cams, headphones for instruction, iPads for primary students, and touchless water dispensers. It's all very much needed.
Yeah. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions? Thank you again. That is great. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried. Item 6.6.
Then I'm asking the board to accept this refund from the Butler County Auditor's Office. He refunded us prior year auditor and treasurer fees in the total amount of $88,823, and $76,000 was placed in the general fund, but you have to post it to the general fund, the bond fund, and the permanent improvement fund. So I'm asking you to accept that refund.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Thank you, Mr. Guido. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried. Item 6.7.
And next, I'm asking the board to approve a refund from the Bureau of Workers' Comp for $169,966.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Second.
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Any questions?
What did we get this for? Just in layman's terms, is it hard to, I mean,
They just came out with it. The Bureau of Workers'
Just like
Comp
company.
decided to.
yes, we'll accept, I was just kind of curious.
Can it be monthly?
Yeah.
Can it be monthly?
It was live too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, it was totally
Just completely out of the blue, unexpected.
maybe.
Is this the first time this ever happened?
Well, they have refunded us other money, like under 100,000. They've refunded like 40,000 one year, and I mean it's been all different amounts, but never this high. And they just announced it, and then a month later it comes. So.
Yep.
Something's in the wind.
Maybe next year be like $200,000 or something. It just keeps like compounding. Sweet.
Good episode.
Yeah, potentially.
That's right.
Any other questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 6.8.
I'm asking the board to approve the wellness grant of $4,780 from the Butler Health Plan.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Guido.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 6.9.
And finally, I'm asking the board to approve the interconnectivity subsidy for 2021, which is $7,200.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions?
What is interconnectivity?
It's for our internet fees, which are, about $9,000. It's from the Department of Education.
Okay. Any other questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Moving on to Section 7, Superintendent's Personnel Business.
It is recommended the board hire the following long-term substitutes. The following staff will work on days when all students are present or on days as assigned by the supervisor.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone. Or Mrs. Stone. And Mr. Leeds. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 7.2.
It is recommended the board approve the following extracurricular contracts.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 7.3.
It is recommended the board approve the following teacher to receive stipends for teaching additional preparation periods per the MEA Master Agreement Article 18.02.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions?
How do you use this? Oh, that's cool.
We won't go there. Any other questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter,
Aye.
Mr. Leeds,
Aye.
Mr. Guido,
Aye.
Mrs. Stone,
Aye.
and Mr. Grant.
Aye. Motion carried. Section 8, Superintendent's Other Business, item 8.1.
It is recommended that the board approve the memorandum of understanding with the Monroe Education Association regarding defining leave during COVID-19 through March 31st, 2021. This MOU will also apply to all Monroe local school district staff who are exempt from the bargaining unit.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Guido. Any questions? Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried. Item 8.2.
It is recommended that the board approve the early graduation of one Monroe High School student in January 2021.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Stone. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Any questions?
Congratulations.
Yeah, good job. Mrs. Cahill, please call the roll.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried. Item 8.3.
As always, just a reminder on there of all of our calendar of upcoming events, and right now, most of it's athletics.
Yep.
So,
Very good.
continuing to move forward with our winter season.
Fantastic. Well, then we continue on to spring.
Yes.
Section 9, Superintendent's update.
The only thing is, I want to say today was a wonderful day. We now have our students back in person after a 2-week break and a week of remote learning. That was very successful. We had a great week of remote learning last week. Thank you, our staff and administration, our parents for their support, and our students for being on remote learning last week with their teachers. And again, thank you for all of your work as board members. That's all I have. Keep it short tonight. I know people are anxious to get to some sort of big game.
Is there something going
Is there
on
something?
Maybe.
So I don't want to stand in the way between
I have no idea.
this meeting and that game.
All right.
No idea what to talk about.
Before we adjourn, comments from the board. We'll start with you, Mr. Leeds.
Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Grant, and Mr. Carpenter, for being elected president and vice president respectively. And again, thank Kathy and you and the staff for you guys doing a great job and kind of moving around, doing things that you have to do to keep things going. And hopefully we can get some continuity from the state to solidify some of this stuff. Hoping the vaccine will come and we can get back to normal, whatever normal is at this time, whatever it's going to be. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Mr. Guido.
Yeah, congratulations to both of you. I think consistency of leadership is important during COVID, and I think you guys did a great job last year. And look forward to what you guys do this year as well. So it's been a tough go. And then I do want to kind of address what happened in Washington, D.C. a little bit. I do want to say that a lot of people are watching, especially kids, right? And so we need to all tone this down and hopefully get back to what we are. I think that we at Monroe has always been kind of a close-knit family, and just I hope we realize that most of what we do, the importance is here local, and so local government. But we all need to make sure be mindful of who we vote for, not just for who a party tells you to vote for, and really put good people in these seats here locally, statewide, as well as federal level. So, but really the most important thing I wanted to say is that we all set a tone here in our seats for our community, and we should be mindful of that. And just realize that a click of a button, a lot more people, including kids, have access to what adults say and do. So if we concentrate here locally,
The kids go out.
along with other communities, it will turn around.
Very good. Mrs. Stone.
I agree with what they've said. Congratulations, John. Forward to a great year. And I have to say, go Bucks.
Mr. Carpenter.
Well, I mean, it's not just these guys. You guys do a lot of this support roles as well. So thank you guys for helping us accomplish our task and make our job a whole lot easier. But this evening's game's gonna be interesting. So my niece goes to Alabama, or a bunch of Ohioans. So Ohio State needs to pull out that win so I can throw it right back in my niece Karen's face as soon as the game's over. So go Bucks.
Yes, I'll echo what Tim said. Thank you guys for your guys' support throughout last year, and I'm looking forward to further support again this year. You guys suggested me taking president last year, and then you guys knew COVID was going to hit.
We just sent it, yeah.
So, but no, it's been great. I had a great opportunity for work hand in hand with Holly and Kathy, so it's been great. I'm looking forward to it again. Thank you to the staff and everything that you guys do. I know it was our goal to keep our kids in the building, and without the hard work of everyone sitting here and over there, it would not have happened. So thank you for that. So other than that, go Bucks, and hopefully, and hopefully we want to win. Other than that, that's it for me. With that said, item 10. I'd like to, is recommended that the board adjourn the meeting. I'd like to may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. Second? Just think about it. We have another hour.
Lots of time.
Mrs. Stone, thank you, Mrs. Stone. All right, Mrs. Cahall, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. Stone?
Aye.
Mr. Guido?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
And Mr. Grant?
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you guys for coming. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I think I know where most of you will be.
States